Good morning, everybody, and well, you might notice someone is different. And yes, of course, I'm referring to the fact that I finally did change over Zelda's arms. No, of course, that is a cool change. However, something is missing from our display, and instead is over here in a brand new alt build form. And this is going to be my official alt build for the 77093 Lego Zelda set. And yeah, okay, it's not as impressive as the Wind Waker alt tree that we've done in the past. But did you recognize it? Did I do that bad of a job? This is King Dodongo from Ocarina of Time. And yes, let's get this out of the way. This is an alternate build, which means it is only done using pieces from this set, specifically pieces through bags 5 through 8, no spares included, meaning that if you for some reason had a second copy, let's say you were following my base expansion tutorials, ding, or in fact you just had an extra Ganon, because these guys are possible to buy, you can indeed create a dodgy looking King Dodongo, which scales right to Mr. Link here. So yeah, so this was a suggestion that was given to me because of the dark green overlap between the characters, and I thought, well, you know what, why not? Let's give it a go and see what happens. And it resulted in this monstrosity. Now, it's not all bad. Obviously, this is a model. It has a jaw. It is semi-recognizable if I put the comparison shot up. And of course, the only reason that we're even entertaining this as a conversation and not going, wow, Octane, let's off you for being an awful builder, which of course I am, is because it is an old builder and it uses limited pieces. So let's just take a quick look today at this model, talk about some of the difficulties that we faced with it, and then just some of the up-close details as well. Unlike the Wind Waker tree, this is actually quite a parts efficient build. You can see that this is all that's left. And I want to draw your attention to one very, very crucial thing, and that is the lack of green that is left here. And for a creature that is greenish grey, of which of course there is very little grey in this set as well, or at least in this portion of the set where there would have been a lot more options over here, that made us an interesting challenge. Similarly, the spikes should in theory be light grey, however they were most commonly available in tan in this colour, so we were able to get something. But there are actually some interesting techniques hiding in this thing after all as well. But yeah, I was pleased that unlike my Deca Trio, I was able to get a significantly higher proportion here, and if I was really trying to bulk things out, I could probably use a couple more of these, but let me be honest, I kind of got lazy with this once I realised it was certainly not going to look anywhere near good. Of course, most of the pieces go into the head because that is kind of the very key aspect of it. It's this sort of dinosaur aspect, or this dinosaur style piece. And let's lower the camera down so I can demonstrate some of the posability real quick. So obviously there is a little bit of jaw motion, however, this needs to be changed. It's very, very fragile, but we do have a ball joint in the head, which allows some twisting, mostly in the downwards motion, but some up and down as well, which is really good for this model because it means that we have some sort of posability. And then you're going to notice the other flaw is that, of course, it is a little bit fragile. We also have arms are on the click ball hinges so they can go out and so on. And there is also wrist reticulation as well, although this isn't great just because of the way it's attached. It's mostly so that the feet can actually sit flat on the floor when you're down. There goes another breakage. The tail is also articulated in 2 positions, again, mostly just to help with the shaping, and then the back legs can also move and stuff, but you're really not going to. Realistically, the only one is the head, and with the jaw specifically, it is unfortunately just a weak connection, but it does actually, or can actually open, I should say. It's just you are better off shaping it and then attaching it wherever you want to attach it. And I realise I've done that all off camera. I hope this just gives you an idea of just why no one should ever do this build. And yes, I do fully know going into this old build, no one is actually going to want to do this. This is mostly just to prove that I can. I mean, it didn't take long to fix, but here we go. Yeah, so there was a brief overview of the posability. What I really like is particularly the shaping, specifically the use of the Ganon printed tooth elements to suggest that the jaw goes back forward after I ran out of space for more teeth. And I've got those big tusks, which are so common. You've got these sort of there, and it definitely, the head sort of looks dinosaurish. I actually quite like the snout. I think there's an angle about like that looks really fantastic, and the use of all these sort of curved elements of the different shapes that came in the official set. It's actually quite a fun technique here when the nose is slanted, and I'm actually using the Technic pins to rotate the eyes into position, which is how I've got this interesting gap here with this offset. And the more I do that, the more I sort of hyper focus on it, the worse I think it looks. But yeah, I chose to use the Technic pins for the blue eyes instead. There was the trans blue plates as an option as well, but I preferred the rounder shape, and obviously the Technic pins on these is a tried and true technique. I also really like how sort of the head curves up to those points that are just above the eyes for sort of the ridges. and then how that sort of continues and then into the horn here, which is still actually attached on the head portion of the ball joint. And yeah, and it creates a nice angle. There are certain angles here where I think it does look really dinosaur-like, and then there's other ones where I'm like, oh my god. The thing it closely reminds me of is the Lizalfos alt build in a way from the Crocodile, and I wonder if we could get a bit of King Dodongo with that set. Maybe that's something to try. Although I love that Lizalfos build, I would never slander it in the way that I'm slandering my own thing here. You'll notice that on the inside, the feet are suboptimal, and those again partially just with parts availability and partly because I got lazy. I could probably do a better job, but the arm technique is sort of using this technique pin here to get the rotation, which allows them to splay just enough to actually be upright on the ground and sort of recreates that sort of flabby foot technique. And with the shoulder rotation you can actually get a sort of nicer angle. It's just this is the most comfortable position for it, and it really is quite stable, especially if I actually angle the black legs. Like I can move it around and we've got no problem. It's only once you start faffing with it, it's very much a get it into position and just leave it module, which is fine. As I said, you can get some posability, but yeah, I really love the tooth there. I really quite like the head. The body is very much suffering from the lack of parts. Again, the fur parts for scales works quite well. I was tempted to use these on the arms, but I think they're better suited to the ridges on the back, and I've only got one of the spikes. Just used a lot of the brackets to sort of cover up as much of the sort of big technique pieces and make them secure as possible. And actually the upper arms are quite great secure wise, and we've got an approximation of various different claw toes for the back legs as well, but they are very, very small. Tail is covered as best as possible, but that was literally out of green brackets. As I said, there's like quite literally only a couple of things here, and remember that when you're doing a symmetrical build like this, you generally need 2 of each part. So a lot of the odd ones out aren't particularly useful, explaining why stuff like the 1x6 plate is left. I was able to use some. There were a couple of sort of asymmetrical points where I had to get a bit creative. I believe I don't remember, they're here somewhere, but yeah, I quite like the front toes as well. You can sort of angle this piece to try and hide more of the bits and pieces that are wrong. There's some brackets so we could attach some more 3D, and if you had a bit of your own parts, you'd probably be able to do a little bit more like this as well. But yeah, I never intended this to be a particularly long video. I just wanted to show off this potential addition to your LEGO Zelda collection. Perhaps if you've got your own parts collection, I look forward to sort of seeing you guys upgrade it. If anyone wants to take on that challenge, do be sure to share it as well. I'd love to see if you guys can get a better King Dodongo with limited parts. Now remember, this is always a limited parts challenge, and it is amazing what you can do. And as always, I encourage you guys to get creative and be a little bit kind to me in the comment section. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and on a broken Dodongo's note, bye bye.